Greetings Internet, welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode I'll be continuing the Battle of First Winchester from Great Battles of the American Civil War. This will be the last turn of the game. The previous, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns I was played against a live opponent, and from a victory conditions game point of view we both sort of agreed this it's a Union victory. And the game as a game was over. However, I asked my opponent John if I could actually do the last turn solo as both a learning experience for some of you guys who'd like to learn the system, and also just from a curiosity point of view, see if it was, well, it's game over, but is the battle finished? Can the Confederates still achieve something on the board? So, well, let's go down and have a look. Okay, so just a brief recap, or if you haven't watched the other videos, this pink line here is denoting the play area. So the play area is effectively from the pink line to the board edge over there. The victory conditions were, and I suppose we've still got to fight towards them, if the Confederates need to get off troops between these two blue cubes, each regiment they get off is worth a victory point. They had an automatic victory condition. If they got off by 7 AM, a whole brigade is an auto win. Well, it's now, we're just about to do the 9 AM turn, so that no longer applies. So what else was happening? Okay, I've got lots of lights on here, so maybe I'm going to turn the lights off in a moment, but yeah, at the moment we have Confederate brigade around here that's starting to break through over here. We'll push the Union back. That's Ewell's division, and he's got 2 brigades, one by Trimble, the other one Taylor. Taylor seems to be scattered in and around here. He's hurting here. He's got some artillery moving up through this gap, as you can see. Gap. Oh no, my hand was in the way. Gap. Jackson's brigade, division, with various brigades in and around here. There's 3 of them, and Jackson himself has been a casualty. So we have different commanders than who initially started. We have Campbell, who else we got here? Mr. Ripple, and another Ripple. He's the divisional commander who is in command of Winder's brigade. Yeah, it's now controlled by Ronald. So yes, a few losses on the Confederate leader side. Union, you've still got Banks in command, overall commander, Williams division, and you've got Gordon brigade, and you've got over here Donnelly's brigade, who's out of command. We've had 2 turns of fog. The fog is now cleared, and yeah, we're going to have the Confederates continuing their push and the Union trying to hold them up. And I say this is the last turn of the scenario. So the intent is to go through the sequence of play and what it actually manifests as we go. I am using I believe the latest, which is the 2023 edition, which I downloaded from the GMT site. The latest I had in box was 2021, which came with Into the Woods, and the one that's in this Death Valley pack is the 2019. So they are continually updating, streamlining the rules. I like to use the word streamlining. I'm not sure if they're streamlined. They do seem to retain complexity, and a lot of that complexity is with every rule seems to have an exception, and quite frequently you have exceptions of exceptions. So the sequence of play, the first thing that happens is we roll for initiative. So which side has initiative? So initiative is determined by a d10 roll for each side. So let me just set up my dice tower on the side here. Okay, and guess what? I've got a blue and a grey dice. That's what comes in the box. So determining initiative, they both roll the same. There's no modifier, so that means that no side has initiative. Sometimes you get a modifier for your overall commander. There is no, well, actually Banks, yeah, he's a core commander, so there's no one, so he doesn't modify that. No, there is no modifier, so therefore no side has the initiative. If a side did have the initiative, they would get to choose one of their chip pools before, because you've got these counters here which are placed into a pool. You would be able to keep one out, and that would be the first activation of the turn. But as no one has the initiative, we'll be putting all the chits in the pool. So that's called the initiative segment. The next up is the orders segment. So we need to determine chain of command. Determine if divisions, leaders, brigade leaders and individual units are within their chain of command. Okay, now the chain of command had been severely hampered by the fog. Well, I'm getting confused with my games. I'm playing Anzio, that's got mud all over the place. This one's got fog, or had fog, but not this turn. So how do you determine the chain of command? Okay, so on the actual board here, there's no army commanders. So we're looking at, and I'm going to zoom in here, because I'm going to do the Union first. Okay, Banks is sitting there, and he's got two values on him, well, he's got three really. He's got his 3-star rating, and he's got this little 1 and a little 5. Now the little 1 is his efficiency rating. That's the modifier he'll add to my chit draw, which I'll explain when we get to that chit draw. And the second number, the one that's in the little black circle there, is 5, is his command range, how far he can actually stretch his range. So he's on this field, he is the commander, and he has got to have that command range of 5 to Williams, who is the divisional commander. Okay, so it's going down that road, and leaders, I say it's a road, that's a pike. I'm not American, but I know that pike means something different to a road. I think it's a little bit more solid or more packed than a road. And maybe back in these days, I don't know if it's tarmac or whatever they used on it. But for leaders, that's half a movement point along the road. And that command range is measured in movement points, not hexes. So he's currently one and a half or 8. So he is definitely, Williams is definitely in command. So the next step after that is Williams has got 3 numbers down his side, which means that he has, as a divisional unit, the first one is his brigade coordination. The second one, using the same sort of symbology, is his command range, so that's the black circle with a number in it. And the third one is his activation rating, how much he modifies the number of activations that his division can undertake. So he hasn't got any modifier, so he'll be just looking straight off the efficiency chip, which we'll come to when we get there. With a command range of 5, he's got to have his brigade commanders within that distance. So let's just zoom out a little bit. Boop. Okay, so one of his brigade commanders is Gordon. Within 5 hexes, movement points, still carrying along that pike, and then the command can go through the facing of an enemy unit as long as one of your own units in the way. So that's going to be going half, 1, 1.5. What is that going off the pike? It is going off the pike. So it's half, 1, 2. So Gordon is in command. Then looking at Gordon, who is yellow. He's got a little yellow sticker on it, so he's looking at yellow units. So let me just zoom in on that. As the brigade commander, you've got the division, Williams. He's got a green tag. Gordon has a green tag, but he also has his designation in yellow, which applies to all the brigades which have a yellow in the middle value. That denotes who their commander is. Therefore, from Gordon, he's got a command range of 4. The first number there is his, I suppose it's his personality. N is normal. You've got A for aggressive and C for cautious. I think you've got R for unreliable as well. So therefore, we have command range of 4, and that last number is his chance to understand orders. If you want to change his orders rating. So that first one, the letter, is his action profile. So A is aggressive, N normal, C cautious, U is unreliable. And that's when you want to change their orders, and they get a to look at their action profile. If they fail the roll, sometimes it depends on the actual result. The orders rating is a DRM used whenever the brigade wishes to change their orders by themselves. So he would have no change on him. And we're going to measure his units to get their command range. So 4, he's in command. Now this is a white brigade, so he's over on this part of the front. He's not actually part of that brigade, he's part of another one, which we'll go to in a moment. By the looks of it, there's only 2 in that area, moving out a little bit. I think this collapsed brigade here, yeah, he's also, yeah, now he's only got 4 movement points. Even down the road, that's 1, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. This dude is out of command. I believe he has got an out of command marker underneath him. Command range, and hence why he's got collapsed, is because he's below half strength. Ain't not much use for anything. The leader's command range can be extended by having adjacent units. Therefore, if I'd had a brigade here, sorry, a regiment here, here, and here, he would have been in command, but he's not. So we only have 2 units from that brigade that are in command and combat effective. Also, there is this artillery unit which was attached to that brigade. He's way out of command, so I'm going to have to give him an out of command marker. This is a cavalry unit, and the cavalry for the Union, they don't actually have a brigade commander, so they're actually always in command. But they have to change their orders individually. So this is a cavalry, dismounted cavalry. We have a mounted cavalry over here. Moving over to the other brigade that the Union have. This is Donnelly. He's still chasing. Notice the green tab on the front. His units are in white. So we have this guy in white. This battery is attached to him. And this infantry unit here is also attached to him. He was an optional unit that was sitting just outside Winchester that we've allowed to be in the game. Apparently, historically, they didn't do anything, but we've allowed him to be in the game, and he's been attached to Donnelly. Now, Donnelly has still got to take his command from Williams. Williams got a command range of 5. So 1, 2, using the road, 3, 4, 5. He's just out of command. It's half for each of these yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Donnelly is just out of command. And I'll note that on his little chit here. So what I've been using, I don't know if the Americans call them, what they call these counters, we call them tiddlywinks. And I've had the colours relating to the commander. And he was out of command because the fog's just cleared, and he remains out of command. So this is showing that they're under attack orders. This is showing that he's out of command. And this is showing that they're actually at fatigue level 1. Going back on Gordon's, we have, he's a yellow, fatigue level 1 and attack, but we know he's in command. We've still got to look at Donnelly's individual units. He's got a command range of 4, and this guy here is in command. These are in command. That's an extended unit of the guy in here, but the individual regiment that went across to assist over here is out of command, and I should imagine I've got an out of command marker. I do. There you go, on him. This game can accumulate quite a lot of markers on units. This is why I've separated the markers here to denote different commands, because it can mount up. I mean, you look at some of these stacks here, they do get quite high with losses, out of commands, out of ammos, etc. And I do prefer to put them under the counter because I like to see the units. I don't just want to see a big pile of blank counters. The only exception I'm sort of making on the units themselves are collapsed, because to me that formation shouldn't really be doing. He can still engage, but he can't come out of disorder. Therefore, we've just completed the Union command situation. So let's have a look at the Confederate. So again, I've got the different brigades with the different colours at the back here. We've got this chap in command. So it was Jackson. It's now Mr. Replacement. Which is actually representing Winder. Winder was in command of his brigade. You see his values on him there. And Jackson's division, they've got that pink or purple stripe at the top. I think, again, you've got the white denoting the units of that brigade. But Winder took command of Jackson's. Am I using the right counter there? I think so, yeah. And Ewell became the overall commander of this. So he became a replacement for Jackson for the corps, effectively, because there's 2 Confederate divisions here. So if we look at Ewell, Ewell has got a command range of 6 and an efficiency of 0. Ewell's got 2 counters on the map, just like Jackson did at the start. You've got his corps rating and he has his own division. So his own division is definitely in command. But Jackson's division, which is this guy over here, isn't. And hence why there's an out of command marker on it. I'd rather it not be on there. So I'm going to denote that the division is out of command by using a purple chit and put out of command on it. It's the brigade that you do the attack, fatigue, well, division on. So the whole of this division is out of command. What is the effect of being out of command? Well, when we draw the efficiency for the entire corps, whatever that efficiency is will be one less if the command is out of command. So that would mean if we draw an efficiency of 3, which will denote that you could get possibly up to 3 activations, they will only get a maximum of 2 because they're out of command. If they draw a 1, they will still get 1. The lowest you can have is 1 and the maximum is 4 activations in a turn. But we'll go in more detail of that when we get to that point. So we have this division out of command, but it's still measured from him for the brigades, and the other 3, but the actual brigade commanders, these 2 plus the White Brigade, they are all in command of their divisional commander. So I'm making sure I don't have any. I do have a few out of commands on those brigades, so I'll remove those because they're in command of their divisional commander, who's out of command of the corps rater. But it doesn't mean that they will get low. If they had been out of command, they would have dropped the amount of activations each of those brigades could have had. So at the back there, this is here for Jackson's division. They're all under attack orders, each brigade, and fatigue level 1. So they're feeling a little bit on the tired side. I'll explain what fatigue does as we go through. Individual units of the brigades, the white one is here, these 2 units down here. Probably these collapsed units are out of command range. He's white, Ronald is here, he's only got a command range of 4. So these individual units here will be out of command. But as I won't be activating them, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put an out of command marker on both of those units. And if I need to move them, I know I can only activate them equal to the amount of activations we get, which we'll determine in a moment. Over on this side, so Ewell has a command range of 6 for his brigade, so Trimble's in command, so that's the yellow brigade. So I can remove, there was an out of command marker on that. So let me just show what I'm doing there. So there was an out of command marker on there. Then Taylor is back here, who's this sort of purpley colour. Where is Taylor? Taylor's way over here. Oh, move the camera. Taylor's way over here. So Ewell's here, he's got a command range of 6. Blimey, sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. So Taylor is out of command. Fatigue's not too bad, but he's out of command. quite a lot of his units are out of command as well. Taylor's in here. Command range of 4, 1, 2, 3. He's in command. These 3 at the back. And why are they so far behind? Well, he had his command under march orders, and he tried to change his orders, and he got they went ape basically. He has an aggressive orders, and he just rushed forward and attacked, leaving the rest of his command behind. Eventually managed to change his orders to attack order. Well, the attack orders. Well, he changed from march to attack. He was going to go into advance, but he got the strange result where he decided to do his own thing, and now these guys at the back here are struggling to keep up. Okay, so that completes the order segment, determine chain of command. Of course, quite a long-winded thing, isn't it? Activation, efficiency, determination. It's a big name for a simple procedure. Each battle will denote what kind of chits they have to put in a pool. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what for this battle, the Union had 4 chits they draw from, the Confederates 5. However, the ratings on these chits were vastly different. And this has been, I've noticed in a few videos, one of the major complaints of the system is that sometimes it comes out exceedingly unfair. Right, so let me just show these chits here. So in this particular scenario, the Union have got 2 3s and 2 4s, whereas the Confederates are ranging from 2 1s, 2 2s and a 3. What that actually means is if the Union draw a 3 and the Confederates are 1, the Confederates are only getting 1 activation for each of their brigades, whereas the Unions could get up to 3. Anything more than 2, you start taking fatigue. This number is bolstered by the Corps Commander's efficiency rating. So at the start, if I just bring Jackson, he was giving a +1, so even if they drew a 1, they'd get 2. 3, they get 4. Great. But Banks is a +1 as well. There he is. So the Union, if they got 3, they've got 4. And 4, they get 5, but the maximum you can get is 4. So Banks was really working really well today. He was not a very good commander, and Jackson was. But I don't know if this is a reflection of tiredness, because at the start of the scenario, the Confederates were quite a few of their units were on fatigue level 2. Or is it just to balance the game up? I don't know. But now what we have Ewell, who is a 0. So if the Confederates draw a 1, they're only going to get 1 brigade activation, and the Union could get maximum of 4 again. So let's have a look. The way this is determined is you put these in a pot and you draw 1 out. So this is for the Confederates. Nice little shake, and they pull out a 1. Not great. We pull out the other chits, and that sits on their little chart. Excuse the dangling legs on the light and such forth. That sits on this little chart. Normally that your opponent wouldn't know what that value is, so they don't know how many chits you're going to put in the cup. Those are out. So let's just do the Union draw. Shift over. There we go. Union little side of that. Give that a shake. Pull out a chit, and they get they get a 3, which sits in the middle there. Little chits are out. Okay, so that determines the efficiency. Each player picks efficient markers to determine the efficiency of each of his core. He uses his efficiency to see how many activation markers divisions of that core receives that turn. Okay, so we have one division. It's going to get, so that 3 becomes a 4 because of Banks's number. That's on the counter. And Williams has a 1 as well. So he's got that 0. Yeah, this is. Right, I just have to revert the rules on this particular one. Okay, so Williams, the divisional mark, activation rating. Okay. Yeah, top numbers is brigade or activations. Right, okay, so here's no modifier, but that means because of the 1 on there, I could put, well, I can put 4 chits into the pool, the AM pool, the activation marker pool for Williams, which I will do. That means he could activate up to 4 times in this turn. This now becomes AM pool, and theoretically my opponent wouldn't know that if we were playing this one-on-one. And how would I hide that fact? Because normally I would hide all the activation markers go in here, this pool here, then I'll stick that on top. So if I'd only drawn 2, there'd be 2 in the pool and 2 under here, which you wouldn't know about. But as I'm playing this solo, I do. So the only other things that there's no artillery going in there, and there's no march, and the Union's cavalry automatically get 2 chits no matter what, because they can only activate twice in the turn. So that's the Union in the pot. Now the Confederates are having a few issues. Their activation or efficiency is 1. The Jackson's division aren't getting any modifiers. So there's only going to be 1 chit going in the pool. The cavalry, I haven't gone through the cavalry, I'll do that in a moment. But the Confederate cavalry automatically, they do have a brigade commander, but he will get all 3 in the chit in the pool. However, the cavalry is not in a good shape. Now Ewell himself, he does have a +1 activation marker, so he will have 2 in the pool, and they don't have an independent artillery, and they've got nothing coming in March. So that is the pool, and they all get shuffled up. Now, as there was no initiative, it's just a random draw, but if the had a player had been initiative, they'd been able to keep one of those activation markers out of the system. The next step will be divisional orders. There will be no change in divisional orders. Everyone's under attack at the present moment, and I think that will stay as is. You could change orders if you're in command, but everyone's going to stay as they are. The next would be reinforcement orders. There are no reinforcements anymore. Reserve placement, you could place brigades into reserve so they can recover fatigue. Pretty much everyone's engaged at the present moment, so they can't go into reserve, and we're not playing with engineering, so there's no breastworks and so forth. So that concludes the first part of the turn, what's called the order segment and initiative segment. The next will be the activation segment. I'm quite conscious that took actually quite a lot of time to explain. Therefore, I'm going to end this video here with the orders phase and then go into the activation. As a brief recap now, we have potentially 4 activations for Williams, and in an opposed game, my opponent wouldn't know that because he doesn't know what my efficiency was. He does know the lowest I could probably get would be a 3, and that's where quite a bit of the tension comes in. We also know that unfortunately Jackson's only going to get 1 activation, or his brigades are only going to get 1 activation, which is, if Jackson had been alive still, they would have probably got 2, because he'd been the overall commander, and maybe even 3. As I did say earlier, that's a lot of people complain about the system, is that it can come across a bit unfair if you get a really low efficiency chit to draw and your opponent gets a high one. I just think it creates the tension. I don't think it's unfair at all. If they've used that to balance the game, then fair enough. Or if they've used it depending on how well those commanders activated on that day, then it seems fair enough too. Also, the bigger the battle, you'll have different corps will have different efficiencies. This is because there's only 1 corps involved on each side. There's only 1 chit coming out, but normally you would be drawing, if you look at something like Gettysburg, where you've got 5 or 6 corps on the Union side and 3 on the Confederate, each one will have an efficiency rating. And some corps will be doing good, and again, your opponents don't know. That's the beauty of the system. But I'm going to say, end this video here. We're ready to go into the orders segment, which will be in the next video. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, and until next time, bye Internet.